Thank you for checking out Lakehead International's videos. You're about to watch one of our Lakehead International live webinars, a fun and informative way to learn more about Lakehead while also meeting faculty, staff, and current students. If you have any questions throughout today's video, please comment below. Otherwise, let's get started. Hello everyone and welcome to another Lakehead International Live. My name is Jordan Ball. I'll be your host today. I'm also joined by a special guest, one of my colleagues, Laura Puttis, who I'll introduce in just a moment. First and foremost, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for joining us. Whether this is your first Lakehead International Live webinar, or perhaps you've joined several before or a couple before, we always appreciate your attendance and taking the time out of your day to learn more about Lakehead University and, of course, prepare your questions for myself and my colleagues. With that being said, I want to introduce myself. So my name is Jordan Ball. I am the International New and Social Media Officer. I help run all of our live events and digital experiences. I also run our social media channels here at Lakehead International, and I help co-manage the Global Ambassador Program. So it's a pleasure to be here today. I'll pass over to Laura to introduce herself.
Thanks, Jordan. Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. My name is Laura Puttis, and I'm the International Recruitment Officer for Africa, the Middle East, and the Caribbean, and really excited to share a little bit more information about Lakehead with you today.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for joining me, Laura. I know that we have plenty to cover. On today's agenda, we're first going to kick things off. I'll do an overview of Lakehead University, choosing Canada, Lakehead and Ontario, our campuses, and then I'm actually going to pass it over and give the reins over to Laura to dive into areas of study, enriching your education, and she'll then dive into student life. So she really does the what do you do on campus, the studying, the getting involved, all that sort of stuff. And then it comes back over to me for budgeting for university scholarships, awards, and applying. So plenty to cover. And on that note, I think it's time to begin, and I want to kick things off by welcoming you to Lakehead. Lakehead University is a public institution located here in Canada, more specifically in the province of Ontario. We are an Ontario accredited university, and so some of the things that we're really proud to be recognized for include our research and some of our other rankings. So I'll speak to some of those now. In terms of rankings, we are considered the #1 in Canada for not-for-profit research income. And then if you're familiar with the global impact rankings, we're actually considered the #1 university in North America under 9,000 students. So that's a really great achievement on our end. And across Canada, we also have some rankings, and we're actually considered in Canada's top 10 universities in our category. Speaking about Lakehead a little more in depth, we also are very proud to offer generous entrance scholarships to our undergraduate students. So last year alone, we gave out $7.8 million to undergraduate students pursuing a bachelor's degree here at Lakehead University. We also are very proud of our small class sizes, where our student-to-professor ratio is 15:1 on the Thunder Bay campus and 13:1 on the Aurelia campus, which equates to simply meaning that you have more access to your professors. You'll get to know them a bit better. You'll get to know them by their name, and they'll vice versa get to know you by your name. And what all that really boils down to is that upon graduation, after getting a more in-depth and personal education, we found that our strong employment rates really hold their own. So we are currently sitting at 96.3% employed after 2 years or within 2 years of graduation. That is above the Ontario University's average. So the average as of right now is 94.3 for all other Ontario universities. So we are above that average, which means Lakehead grads are more likely to get jobs, which is always very exciting to hear. As I noted already, Ontario is an accredited university, which means that whether you complete your degree with us or another public university here in Ontario, essentially the degree is quite similar. Of course, there's additional things that Lakehead may provide that other schools or institutions do not, that really enhance and enrich that degree. But it's also giving you the confidence and giving you the understanding that an Ontario University degree is highly accredited and it's very rigorously approved. We do have over 8,600 students located on our 2 campuses, and between those 2 campuses, we also have students joining from over 80 countries and nations around the world, which is very exciting. Those students are pursuing over 85 undergraduate and graduate degrees and programs. And some of those programs that they are pursuing also offer a cooperative education experience, which I'll dive into a bit further. So chatting a bit about Canada, you may be looking to the bottom right and seeing photos that are familiar. There's Toronto, Niagara Falls, downtown Toronto, skiing, Ottawa, and then we land on Thunder Bay here. So this is one of our hometowns located in Thunder Bay. You can also see it on the map behind, located just there in Ontario. But I want to first take a step back and, like I said, talk about Canada. So when you choose Canada as your study destination, as it is still considered the top study destination around the world for international students, we embrace multiculturalism as an entire community and as a nation. We're also recognized in the top 3 in the world for quality of life. We have over 800,000 students, international students, already pursuing education degrees and a variety of different educational opportunities here in Canada. So by you joining, it's a new journey for you, but it's nothing new for us. We're well versed in hosting and having international students on our campuses. And last but not least, one of the main reasons international students continue to select Canada as the top study destination is because they recognize that Canadian university degrees are really respected and recognized worldwide. So having a degree and, of course, perhaps pursuing a career in Canada is a top consideration, but then maybe considering taking that degree global and around the world. Maybe it's back to your home country or to a new country that you've never experienced before. That would certainly be an option for you. Students also choose Canada because choosing Canada means you choose employment. Before you graduate and while you're studying, full-time international students are actually eligible to have work or work while they study, so earn while you learn. And then after graduation, students are also eligible to stay in Canada and work as a part of the postgraduate work permit program for up to 3 years. And so that means that when you graduate from your Lakehead University degree, you would be able to stay in Canada for up to 3 years, perhaps, and pursue full-time employment. All that being said, in some cases, many of you may be looking at immigrating here and becoming a permanent resident. When you complete a Canadian university degree, you actually receive bonus points towards that PR or permanent resident application. So that's always a consideration for our students if they are looking further down the road or a bit more long-term. In terms of Lakehead in Ontario, like I said, we have 2 campuses. One is Thunder Bay, and it's located 90 minutes by flight to Toronto. Toronto is the city that most viewers will understand and recognize, whether it's the iconic CN Tower or perhaps the sports teams, the Blue Jays, the Toronto Maple Leafs. There's probably something that you've even seen in the movies of Toronto. So it is that iconic city in Canada. It's one of our largest cities, or it is the largest city. And both of our hometowns are conveniently located just 90 minutes from there. Our Aurelia campus is located 90 minutes by driving to Toronto. Because we're located outside of Toronto and the true greater Toronto area, though, we're proud that both of our hometowns are friendly, safe, and affordable cities. And that's why we're so proud to call them home. So chatting a bit about those hometowns, both Laura and I are joining you from our Thunder Bay campus. It is also both of our hometowns, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, I got the head nod of approval. Perfect. So Lakehead Thunder Bay, first and foremost, the photo on the left there is actually on campus. This is one of my favorite photos because this is the Lake Tamlin. So it's a man-made lake that's at the heart of our campus. And in the winter, it actually freezes over and students can go ice skating on here. But Thunder Bay is also home to over 120,000 individuals. We are home to the Sleeping Giant, one of Canada's world wonders, or pardon me, one of Canada's 7 wonders. And then in terms of things to do and some of the basic amenities that you may be looking for, Thunder Bay has over 100 parks and recreation areas. We have over 7 shopping districts, 20 annual city festivals. We have 200 plus restaurants with food from around the world. So flavors and tastes that may be a little more familiar to you as you arrive here and you're missing that good home cooked meal. You'll find something hopefully that is similar. It's not going to be as good as your family's, but hopefully you'll find something that's just nearly as good, or at least you can't tell your family that it's as good. And then, like I said, we're just a 90-minute flight from Toronto, so we have 4 major airlines connecting us there: Air Canada, Flair, Porter, and WestJet. Bringing you through some of the story of Thunder Bay and some of the photos here on your screen now. At the bottom right is also on the Thunder Bay campus. It's our cases building. It's home to our faculty of graduate studies, but also several research centers, our research services team, as well as our business incubator space, Ingenuity. Those are just a few of the departments that are located in this building. This is our newest on-campus building, and it's quite impressive. So as you explore perhaps Thunder Bay and our options, you may wish to check out our virtual tour and see what this building is all about. Across the top of your screen, you see 2 photos. The far right is our Thunder Bay downtown waterfront. So the waterfront is a great place for students to come and unwind. In the summer, it's filled with sailboats and just marine boats in general. There's opportunities for you to perhaps gather a group of friends and go sailing, even through paid excursions. But the waterfront also provides recreation opportunities where there's walking paths, there's an outdoor skating rink, there's a splash pad in the summer, there's several restaurants, cafes, bars, and pubs. There's local artisans and vendors and shops that are also in the waterfront district. So this is a great place, like I said, for students to come and unwind and enjoy their free time, whether it's in the evenings or the weekends. It's also the location where, as I mentioned, several of those city festivals are held, including the Festival of India, which is pictured here in the middle. It's one of the many cultural celebrations that is hosted in Thunder Bay, and we often see hordes of students heading down there to celebrate, whether it's something that they're used to and they want to cherish from back home, or it's something as a new experience. We're always looking to connect them to a community here in their new hometown. Chatting a bit about Lakehead Aurelia, the photo on the left is actually on campus. It's Orsay Learning Commons. And that's sort of our main study space on the Aurelia campus. And it's also connected as the central hub to all of our community activities. But speaking of the community, we do have a population of over 33,000 individuals. We have over 200 kilometers of walking and biking trails, over 30 annual festivals. As you may know or may not know, Aurelia is considered the gateway to Lake Country. So second home, cottage homes, camps, all that sort of stuff that surrounds us in Aurelia is for the folks that are living in Toronto. So we have an influx of population in the summer, and we have a lot of exciting activities going on for our visitors that come to Aurelia. But that also goes to show you that when people that live in Toronto need somewhere to unwind and they need somewhere to catch a breath and relax, they come to our community of Aurelia in Simcoe County, which is really great because it's where we get to call home. We also have over 100 restaurants in Aurelia, again, flavors and tastes from around the world. And like I said before, just a 90-minute drive to Toronto. The photos across the bottom of the screen are also on the Aurelia campus. So we have outdoor seating at our cafeteria. We have an on-campus residence building, which Laura will chat a bit further about. And then across the top of your screen, you actually see the downtown waterfront district in Aurelia. So this is a street fair where we actually close off the streets from vehicular traffic, and it's just people that come. They set up booths, whether they're selling local eats, whether they're selling artisan goods or handcrafted goods. This is a great place for students to come and connect with their community and learn more about the Canadian experience, but also, again, as I've noted before, to unwind and really just experience something outside of academics. On that note, though, it is time to chat a bit more about academics, so I will have the pleasure of passing it over to Laura.
Thanks so much, Jordan. So now that you've learned about some of the amazing things that studying in Canada, and more specifically in Thunder Bay or Aurelia, has to offer, we want to spend some time introducing you to the academic offerings here at Lakehead. So on the screen here, you can see our areas of study or faculties. So we have 9 areas of study that house a variety of different degree programs that I'll get into shortly. So we have our business administration, engineering, science and environmental studies, natural resources management, education, social sciences and humanities, health and behavioral sciences, law, and of course, grad studies. So kicking off with our undergraduate program offerings, you can see on the screen here a long but complete list of our undergraduate programs. And I will point out that this is our degree programs only. So what you might not see on this list are things like double majors or minors, certificates, concentrations, a lot of different opportunities that allow you to sort of customize your academic experience at Lakehead to fit your unique interests and academic needs. So I myself did a humanities major, and I was able to get a minor in a program called Indigenous Learning without taking any extra classes. I just sort of tailored my electives to that degree subject. So I was able to graduate with 2 credentials. And that's, one amazing thing about the academic experience at Lakehead is it is so customizable in that way. A lot of our academic programs, as I mentioned, have concentrations. So for example, if you're a psychology student, maybe you have ambitions to go to medical school or be a psychologist after graduation, you can concentrate your degree in neuroscience. Or if you're an environmental management major, you can concentrate in wildlife conservation. So there's lots of different options there. I do want to point your attention to a couple of key programs on this list. So first, let's talk about our business program. So business is one of the most amazing programs here at Lakehead. It is AACSB accredited. And when you study business at Lakehead in your 3rd year, you're actually able to declare your major or concentration. And we have a lot of different options from marketing, accounting, finance, human resources, economics, and so forth. Business is, believe Jordan's field of study. He's an alumni of the business program here.
It
So
sure is. Yes, I
yeah.
did marketing, and I actually, like you, Laura, did a minor at Lakehead, and I did human resources and industrial relations. So if there's somebody on today's session that is interested in business, feel free to pop a question over in the Q&A, and I'd be happy to elaborate further, but pass back to you, Laura.
Awesome. Thanks, Jordan. Engineering is one of our more popular degree options. So we have 6, I believe, streams of engineering now. So chemical, software, civil engineering, mechanical, electrical, and brand new as of, I believe, this year, our mechatronics program, which we're really excited about. We also have programs in nursing, education, environmental management. I do also want to point out, you'll see on the bottom right of the screen, our Lakehead Georgian programs. So this is an opportunity where you study for 2 years at Georgian College in Barrie, Ontario, and then 2 years at Lakehead Aurelia, graduating with both a diploma and degree. So these programs, which we have in electrical engineering, environmental sustainability, applied life science and biotechnology, and then computer science and programming, it allows you to get that sort of amazing hands-on learning experience, which is sort of typical for studying at a college environment, combined with more high-level academic theory at the university level. So it's a really unique opportunity for students to take part in. So I know this is a lot of program offerings. So if you're taking notes and you're interested in undergraduate studies, maybe jot some programs down that you're interested in, or of course, hold for questions, which we will be taking, I believe, at the end of the session. But I do want to reiterate, you can always reference our website or viewbook, or even connect with me for a little bit more tailored program advising. I'm always here to help. One more quick thing before we move on to our graduate program offerings. I wanted to note that on the screen, you'll see a little handshake icon beside some of the academic programs. So this indicates that that is a program that offers co-op opportunities for students. So for those that may not know, co-op or cooperative education is work integrated learning that you complete while studying your academic program. So these co-ops are often paid positions in your field of study that give you that valuable hands-on work experience before you even complete your university degree. So next we'll shift to our graduate program offerings. So here at Lakehead, you can see we have a very diverse range of programs at both the master's and doctoral levels. So our master's programs would be for students who have already completed a 4-year bachelor's degree and are wanting to further their education. And the doctoral or PhD programs are for students that have already completed a master's degree. So a couple things to point out here. Of course, we have 2 programs at the grad master's level in business, both the Master's of Business Administration and Master of Science in Management. The different streams of masters in engineering, we have chemical, civil, electrical and computer, environmental, and mechanical. Our Masters of Education program is quite popular alongside our Social Justice Studies program. So a very diverse range of academic offerings. I also want to note that in some cases, graduate students have the opportunity to participate in something called a graduate assistantship. And this is where you can work or research under a Lakehead prof, and these positions are typically funded as well. They're not guaranteed for graduate students, but is an option for some and good experience to have while you're studying at Lakehead. So that is a brief introduction to our academic programs, but I want to shift gears a bit and talk about a few of the things that make Lakehead a study destination that stands out. So some of the different things that we do to enhance your academic experience rather than just, learning in a classroom. So I had mentioned CoOp previously, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit more in depth in the next slide. But we also have internship opportunities. So for students to get experience interning in their field, often with a company or relevant community organization. A lot of our programs also offer and facilitate practicums, placements, and field schools. So those practicums would be for many of our health services programs where sometimes you're working under a physician or in a hospital, getting that hands-on experience. Placements might be for some programs like education, where you're getting that experience in a classroom working under an educator. And then field schools happen for a lot of different programs, but more specifically things like environmental management, geology, forestry, where you're often going in the field in nature, conducting research or collecting data. So some really cool hands-on opportunities that allow you to develop very valuable skills that will serve you throughout your degree and after graduation. Another thing that you already know Lakehead prides ourselves in is research. So research opportunities present themselves in pretty much every degree program at Lakehead. We consider it one of the most prominent skills that you can learn in your undergrad, master's, or PhD. And we try and equip our students with research skills and knowledge at every level of study. Community engagement. So lots of our academic programs give you opportunities to connect with the wider communities, whether it's through volunteering opportunities or working with a local company. I know in our Honors Bachelor of Commerce business program, in your 4th year, I believe students get in groups and work with a local business to make strategic business recommendations. And I'm sure Jordan can answer any questions if you have any about that. And then last but not least, international exchange and global opportunities. So international students at Lakehead can participate in some of our global mobility and exchange programs. So studying at another country for 1 semester, a full year, or a short-term program. We are also seeing some international dual degree program offerings get introduced. So one that recently started in France, where students will get the 4-year business degree, but spend their 3rd year at our partner school in France and graduate with both a French degree and a degree from Lakehead. So lots of opportunities for you to study abroad even further when you're at Lakehead. So moving on to CoOp, as I had mentioned before, CoOp is a paid work experience that's built into many different programs like engineering, computer science, forestry, kinesiology, and more. So here on the screen, you can see some of the companies that our students have completed CoOp placements under in the past. So some pretty big names here. We have Amazon, IBM, Bell, RBC, Royal Bank of Canada. And these CoOp opportunities allow students to get paid work experience while they're studying, but it also is amazing for making connections at companies that you might be interested in working for following graduation, and of course, building those skills that you need to enter the career market. I do want to mention that your CoOp placement doesn't necessarily need to be in Thunder Bay or Aurelia or Barrie. It can be, all around Canada. You can even complete a co-op placement internationally. There is some support for students completing co-op opportunities, but it is the responsibility of the student to find their specific placement. But I'll talk about our Student Success Center shortly that gives you some assistance in that regard. So now that you have learned more about our academic programs and sort of the Lakehead edge and all the things we offer to make your academic experience at Lakehead unique, I want to talk about something that I consider equally as important, which is student life. So this is all about, social programs and student opportunities that you can get involved with at Lakehead, which is a really key part of the Canadian university experience. You're here to study, of course, but it's important to engage with all the different student life opportunities available too. So I'll kick things off talking about student clubs. So we have many different student clubs on both of our campuses, which are run by students for students. So joining a student club is a great way to meet like-minded people and get involved on campus. The student clubs are facilitated by our student union. And as a student at Lakehead, you even have the opportunity to start your own club if you want to and get a little bit of financial support from the student union too. So as you can see on the screen here, a very wide range of interests and topics that student clubs can be based around. So we have student clubs that are focused on a specific nationality, culture, or religion, arts, sports and athletics, music, community engagement and volunteering, academic clubs that are focused on your specific degree study, politics, nature, media, and games. So some of the not more notable, but some of the ones we find international students really enjoy engaging with are here on the screen. So we have APCASA, our African Caribbean Student Association. They run tons of different events throughout the semester and advocacy events for students. Association of Latin American Students, Indian Students Association, and the Muslim Student Association. For hobbies and interests in academics, we have our Business Aurelia Student Society, Enactus, the Google Developer Student Club, Nature Enthusiast Club. That one sounds fun, especially for those that like the outdoors, Pre-Med Society, and Visual Art Network. And those are only a few. There are 50 plus student clubs available for you to take part in. And this is something that is growing every year as we see new students joining our campuses and starting their own clubs. Moving on to leadership opportunities. So Lakehead also facilitates opportunities for you to develop skills outside of the classroom and engage with community and meet like-minded peers on campus, whether it's other, students or Lakehead staff and faculty. So taking part in these leadership opportunities will help you build skills that will prepare you for your future career, help you develop interpersonal and leadership skills, all things that will serve you in your academic and professional career. So the Global Ambassadors Program is something that is run by Lakehead International, and this engages international students with a variety of different skill building, volunteering, and student engagement activities. So through the Global Ambassadors Program, you could act as a peer mentor, which would be, helping guide a group of first-year new international students to Lakehead, helping orient them to campus, doing social activities, that kind of thing. We also have opportunities for chat ambassadors. So that would allow you to connect with prospective students, potentially from your home country, tell them about your Lakehead experience, give them tips and tricks about studying at Lakehead. It would also include volunteering at our international student orientation, doing airport pickups for international students. So lots of different ways to get involved. There's also the Level Up program, which is run by our Student Success Center, and just another way to get involved in different volunteer opportunities on campus and engage with different student events. So I do believe that engaging with these student leadership opportunities while you're studying is a great way to make connections with Lakehead staff and students, but of course, a great way to build your resume and develop those skills too. So let's shift to athletics and recreation. Recreation is a big thing at both of our campuses. So I can speak to Thunder Bay first. So in Thunder Bay, we have a big recreation facility that students are able to use, free of charge just with their Lakehead University student ID card. So you'll see on the screen here that the top left, this is our Olympic-sized swimming pool that you can use if you enjoy swimming. You'll see our weight room, which is in the top middle there. And then on the top right, that is our hangar. So if you're interested in soccer, or there's a track around that too, lots of different things that you can get involved with. We also have a yoga studio on campus and several different sports teams and clubs that you can engage in. There's a lot of variety from, ultimate frisbee to cricket to Nordic skiing, which is something that I really enjoy. So there is an option for everyone. And taking part in these athletics and rec opportunities at Lakehead is really important for your own personal wellness. And it's all about balance, right? Balancing your academics with student life and your own personal well-being, which really fits in here. In Aurelia, there isn't a gym right on campus, but students have full access to an amazing facility called the Aurelia Recreation Center, which is right in the community. And this gives you the option to attend the aquatic center, gymnasium. There's a fitness center as well. And there's also club sports in Aurelia too that you can take part in. So continuing on to student support services, I want to mention all of the different ways that Lakehead is here to support you as an international student on our campuses. So I'm going to kick off with the International Student Services Center. This is a dedicated office that supports international students on campus. The International Student Services Center has immigration advisors that can assist you with all things related to study permit advising, working in Canada, postgrad work permits, CoOp work permits, visa renewals, any and all questions you have about immigration. There are some real experts on the ISS team that are there to help you. So they'll meet with you in person or on Zoom to assist with whatever you need. They also do international student advising. So they're there to support you in your own personal, academic, and cultural wellness. So you can consider the ISS advisors a confidential and supportive team to lean on if you're having, any issues or if you're struggling and need help. They will make sure that you feel supported and help navigate any issue you're having. The International Student Services Office also organizes our amazing orientation event, which I hope those of you participating in this session will eventually get to experience. So our orientation happens at the beginning of every semester intake. And it's a big welcome event that includes all of the different student services and community partners. So really helps orient you to life at Lakehead. And also you get to meet all the other new international students too, which is usually a really fun experience. Our ISS team also facilitates airport pickup services, which we really like. So when you study at Lakehead, we will pick you up right at the airport upon arrival and take you to your accommodation, just to make sure that your transition is as smooth as possible. They also have an amazing facility called the International Student Lounge. So for those of you that will be pursuing Lakehead, you will become very familiar with this. It is full of students all of the time. The Student Lounge is a great social and event space for international students. My old office used to be just down the hall from the International Student Lounge. And I remember how wild and loud it would get during, the World Cup or the Olympics, or even just from people playing video games, because we have big screen TVs, Xbox, cable TV, all of that. And it's a pretty lively place. I do have a different office now, but I miss the energy sometimes. It's much quieter where I am now. But yeah, it's a great place for students to hang out. Aside from the International Student Services Office, we have a lot of other student support services on campus, and international students, outside of ISS, they're able to access any of our student services on campus. So Student Central, the first one listed there, this would be your sort of one-stop shop for all academic advising, course registration, student fees, scholarships, admissions. Our Student Central is located right in the Agora, which is the main building of our of our campus. And then in Aurelia, as soon as you walk in the front door, it's right there to serve you. There's also our Student Success Center, which is really focused on student life and making sure that students have all that they need to succeed academically and personally at Lakehead. So Student Success Center does the campus-wide orientation. They run different student events throughout the year. And then they also have some amazing academic support services. So this would include organizing tutoring, if that's a service that you would want to look at. They do peer tutoring sessions, which are free for students. So this would be when a small group meets in their academic support zone, which is located in our library. And there will be an experienced student, either a senior undergrad or master's student, that can, answer questions if you're struggling with a course in a specific subject. Also in the academic support zone, they have the writing center and math center, so dedicated support services for writing and math, and is very helpful to have, especially as you're adjusting to a new academic environment in Canada. There's also the Career Services and CoOp office. So this would be the department that assists with those CoOp placements that I mentioned before. But they also do some amazing work with assisting students in finding employment and building their resume. They'll even do interview workshops. So if you are wanting to get some part-time work experience while you're studying in Canada, this would be a great service to touch base with when you first arrive, just to make sure your resume is strong, and you have all the skills that you need to enter the job market. There's also student accessibility services. So this would be for students with disabilities or needing accommodations, whether it's a learning disability or a physical disability. They will provide you with all of the different supports that you need to make sure that you have the best chance for success. You can touch base with this department prior to your arrival in Canada, just to set up any supports that you might need. There's also the Student Health and Wellness Center on campus. So this would be where you can access a doctor or counseling services, which you can do so on a free, unlimited basis with your student card and your university health insurance plan. So it's very convenient, of course, for us to have medical services and counseling services right on campus. There's security, of course, that is there 24/7 on campus to make sure that our campus is safe. They offer services like Safe Walk Home, where they'll walk you to your car or to the bus stop. If it's late at night, you're cramming, studying for an exam, they're there to help you out. Our Lakehead University Student Union, which I mentioned, they organize a lot of different student life activities, like organizing clubs. They run a couple different centers and event spaces on campus, like our campus pub and the study coffee house. But aside from that, they offer a lot of different support for students on campus, and a lot of student advocacy as well. Our Office of Human Rights and Equity, so any issues you might be having in the event of discrimination or anything like that, they would be there to advocate for you. And then the bookstore, of course, which not only sells books, they sell school supplies if you need notebooks or pens, and then Lakehead merchandise, of course, that you can wear proudly on campus. So that is some of the different student supports in a nutshell. Now I want to talk about living on campus. It is so important to have a safe and comfortable and clean environment that you can come home to after, studying all day, working on your academics and engaging with student life. You need that space that is just for you, where you feel really, really comfortable. And we have very convenient on-campus living options at both our Thunder Bay and Orillia campuses. We truly believe that living on residence is absolutely ideal for first-year students. It is a place where we know is safe and comfortable for you. It's an amazing way to meet other new students and make those initial connections. So I want to talk a little bit about what on-campus accommodation looks like at both campuses. I do want to also mention that residence is guaranteed to all students coming from high school. There are 3 options for on-campus accommodation in Thunder Bay. So the first would be sort of a traditional dorm room. So it would be a single room where you share bathroom facilities, social and study lounges, and usually a shared kitchen with other students, with a whole floor of other students. For that accommodation type, it is mandatory to have a meal plan that will give you 3 meals a day in our cafeteria. If you're not so keen on the meal plan, we do have townhouse and apartment style accommodations, which are options for students to have their own private room and then share a common space, kitchen, and bathroom with just up to 3 other students. So it's a little bit more private. I mean, at all options, you have a private bedroom, but the townhouse and apartment accommodations allow you to have a full kitchen, only shared with a few other people, so you can cook for yourself, meaning that the mandatory meal plan is not that available for the townhouse and apartments. Um, in Aurelia, there's just one accommodation option, and it is a private room where you have, your own bedroom, a sink, and then you share a bathroom and a shower and things with just one other student. So it's still fairly private. And it's conveniently located right on campus. Our Aurelia accommodation is, or our Aurelia campus is quite small, so the accommodations are just steps from your classes and steps from the cafeteria too. I should also mention that if you are preferring a townhouse or apartment style accommodation in Thunder Bay, you can still opt into the meal plan. And our cafeteria offers catering for students with a lot of different unique needs. So if you are a vegetarian, or if you have an allergy, or if you eat halal meat, that would be something that they would be able to accommodate you on. So that is a look into what living on campus is like. And I think at this point, I'll pass it back to Jordan to finish it off.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Laura. You covered quite a few different slides and topics. One thing I wanted to note here and remind our viewers, the guaranteed residence is for all high school students that apply before the deadline. So I know that it actually will start to fill up in the summer months if you're joining us in a fall intake or a September arrival. So simply trying to secure that housing or that residence accommodation a couple weeks before arriving will not be okay. We would encourage you, if you are looking to live on residence or on our campuses, to do that. Essentially, as soon as you receive your Lakehead offer is when you're able to begin the residence process. And with that being said, it's time for an important topic that I know is going to answer some questions that are outstanding in the Q&A. It's budgeting for university. So fees and financing. This is a quick breakdown, actually, of all of the different costs associated with pursuing a Canadian degree and a Lakehead degree, more specifically. I also want to note to our viewers, if you scan the cost estimator at the bottom right of your screen, it's going to bring you to a tool that we've built on our website that will allow you to plug in your program, your level of study, your housing options, and then based on that, it will give you a cost estimator, or it will estimate the cost, I should say, of your first year studies. So looking at the left-hand side, we're looking at undergraduate studies, which is 8 months. Tuition ranges between 28 to 38, ancillary fees just over 1,000. Books have a range of 1,000 to 2,000, depending on whether or not you buy used or new or soft cover, hardcover, online digital copies. There's a lot of factors that will play into the role of those costs. On-campus housing ranges between 6,000 to 8,000, off-campus 8,000 to 12,000. Food between 3,000 and 5,000. UHIP, which is the University Health Insurances Plan, is 700, and then our personal expenses is 1,500. To be clear, some of these are set costs. So for example, UHIP is a set cost, ancillary fees and tuition are a set cost based on your program. But like I noted, other flexible costs would be your books and your food, perhaps, and your personal expenses. Those have ranges, or maybe cheaper for some students or more expensive for others. Looking at the grad side, which is 12 months, we're looking at tuition between 23 and 50. 50 being the higher end for our Masters of Business Administration, so MBA program, and that would be the 16-month program. A vast majority of our grad programs cap out in the 30s, so it's just a select number of programs that are upwards of 50. Ancillary fees are set at 836. Books, like I said before, are arranged and they depend on sort of what types of books you purchase or what you are required to buy. On-campus housing is a little more expensive because it has the additional 4 months. Off-campus is ranging between 12 and 18. Food, again, is slightly more expensive. It just depends on how long you are studying for and how long and where you're buying that food from. UHIP, of course, is set cost, and personal expenses an estimated cost. The prices you see on your screen here reflect the current academic year prices, so 2023 to 2024. I would anticipate and encourage you to plan for a small increase each year for your studies, and also, of course, as you prepare for your first year, a small increase on top of these prices. And now that question comes is, how can I help pay for that? Or how can Lakehead help me pay for that? So we'll first chat about undergraduate studies. So we do have a merit-based entrance scholarship. We call it our International Undergraduate Entrance Scholarship. And that is where students who achieve a 75 to 79.9 or an IB average of 28 to 29 in their home institution, of course, that's their Canadian equivalent though, they're going to receive $6,000 Canadian in their first year. So it's going to take a decent chunk of your tuition off right there in that first year, which is always exciting. For the next step up, though, for academic achievers that are between an 80 to 89.9 or a 30 to 34, you're going to be eligible for what we call a renewable scholarship. So you'll receive $7,500 Canadian in your first year. If you maintain your academic average in your first year of studies, you will get that same scholarship in your second year. And then same goes for the second year. If you maintain that average, you'll get the scholarship in your third year. It's a renewable scholarship for up to 4 years, so a total value of $30,000 Canadian. And for those top academic achievers, the ones that have really pounded the pavement and worked hard to achieve a 90% or over or a 35 plus, we have a $40,000 entrance scholarship, which is $10,000 in your first year and eligible for renewability for 4 years. I will note at this top range, if you are unable to maintain the 90% or over in your second year, for example, you maintained it in your first year and you got the second $10,000 to now you're at $20,000. Maybe in your second year it's a bit more challenging, or there's other circumstances that don't pertain or don't allow you to focus as much time where you're able to secure that 90, and perhaps you're at an 86 or an 83 even. Anywhere above an 80, we'll drop you down to the next scholarship. So in your third year, you would receive 7,500. So that's at that top scholarship range where we'll drop you down. If you fall below that 90, which is okay, you'll still receive the next scholarship in line. Also bringing up the idea that our Lakehead Georgian program, so the degree and diploma programs that Laura discussed, there's 4 of them offered between Lakehead University and Georgian College. We're also, on top of our entrance scholarship, offering a $4,000 International Visionary Award. These are new programs to Lakehead Georgian. We're coming up on 5 or 6 years, I believe, with them, maybe slightly longer. And so we are so excited to welcome international students into the program. And with that, we want to help you gain that experience and join that program through that International Visionary Award. So that's a $4,000 award on top of potential entrance scholarships. In terms of graduate funding, we do have limited graduate assistantships available. So I know Laura mentioned on our grad slide where you would actually work directly with a supervisor or professor to either aid them in their research or perhaps help deliver some of their own course material to undergraduate students. There are a variety of opportunities available. And if you are considering this as a key option or a key factor into your Lakehead studies, what I would say is I encourage you, when you submit your Lakehead application on the Graduate Studies portal, you're typically required to include a statement of intent or a statement of interest that elaborates on why you're interested in pursuing that degree. In that letter, you should clearly outline that you are interested in graduate funding opportunities, and more specifically, you would be interested in a graduate assistantship. That will allow for the committee to see that as somewhat of a request, but also have it noted that you are interested at least. And as they review what opportunities they have available, although I've noted they are limited, they may be able to consider you for that. So the next part of this big puzzle is applying. So you also may be considering what are the admission requirements? When do I need to submit an application? What is it going to cost me? So let's chat a bit about that. For those students pursuing an undergraduate degree, we're looking for the successful graduation from an academic secondary school program or the equivalent to. We're also looking that you will have a Canadian equivalent of a minimum of 70% overall final average. There will be select programs that require slightly higher final averages, but all of our admission requirements and program-specific prerequisites and requirements are listed on our website. So if you head over to lakeheadu.ca/programs, you'll be able to navigate to any one of the programs Laura discussed in today's session, and you can also see some of those program-specific prerequisites. And last but not least, there is a proof of English language proficiency, which can be satisfied through a variety of different means. It could be through your previous studies in an English institution. It could be through completing ESL tests such as IELTS, TOEFL, Duolingo, Cambridge, PTE. There's so many to list, I can't stay here all day. But with that being said, there's also our academic English program offered through Lakehead's English Language Center. We have pathway partnerships with some of our other English language schools across Canada and across the world. So like I said, there's several ways to meet that proof of English language proficiency. And this is one of the main components of admissions to make sure that you're going to be successful and be able to maintain your studies in an English institution here in Canada. So chatting about deadlines for that same undergraduate stream, if you're interested in a fall entry, so September 2024 perhaps, if you would like to join our nursing program, your deadline is going to be February 1st, 2024. Your other deadlines for any of our other programs is going to be March 1, 2024. With that being said, that's a recommended deadline. Our applications will stay open beyond either one of these dates, perhaps, provided that the program has not filled. As soon as this date does pass, though, we can close applications without warning. We'll do our best to publish it on our social media, so that's why I always encourage a quick follow over there on Instagram or Facebook. With that being said, though, we will close without notice in some cases, and so applying before the deadline will ensure that you are considered for the desired intake you're pursuing. Your application fees are $135 Canadian, and if you've completed any other post-secondary education, so perhaps you've started a degree at another university or you've completed part of a diploma at a college, or even just a few courses, we're going to want to take a look at that transcript and consider it for transfer credits. So we do have a document evaluation. Shifting gears and chatting a bit about our graduate admissions, we're looking for the successful graduation with an accredited university degree equivalent to a Lakehead University 4-year degree. If you have a 3-year degree that in practice you know is of the same equivalent to a 3-year degree, typically we would require a WES assessment. However, a lot of our graduate students assume that WES will be required from the start. That's not the case here at Lakehead. We will assess your documents when we first receive them, and then if we require additional details or if we require that WES assessment, we will certainly connect directly with our applicant. We are looking for the Canadian equivalent of a minimum of 75% or an O or a 3.0 on a 4-point scale. And then depending on your program of study, program-specific prerequisites may be required. Once again, you can find out those program-specific prerequisites on our website. We don't hide it. They're easily accessible for all of our users. And like I said before, proof of English language proficiency can be satisfied through a variety of means. Some of those popular, of course, through previous education. So maybe perhaps your undergraduate degree was completed at an English institution in English instruction. Or perhaps you already know that you're going to be completing an IELTS or a TOEFL or Duolingo. There's other options that I can elaborate on further if people have questions, but otherwise I've already said it once. So chatting a bit about the deadlines for fall entry, September 2024, keeping in mind February 1 is the recommended application deadline. This is also a firm deadline for a select number of programs. So a select few programs will close after this deadline. So if you're interested in programs like computer science, for example, that has typically closed after February 1st. I can't guarantee it's going to close that time this year. I would anticipate it will. So for those students that are interested in that program, consider your application sooner than later. But like I noted before, getting the ball rolling and starting that application sooner than later is really important, because then that means that our admissions committees can review and assess your documents, provide you with an opportunity to update any of your information if there are outstanding documents or there's missing criteria or details. It also gives Lakehead a chance to take their time in reviewing your application, with ample opportunities then to still receive that letter of acceptance and apply for a student visa. Your application fee for a grad app is $125 Canadian. So with that being said, that concludes our presentation and information session on Lakehead University. I want to once again welcome you to Lakehead and thank you for joining us and learning more about our institution. It's been my pleasure, and I know Laura was excited for today's session to share more details, and I think that she did an incredible job. Before I let you go, though, I want to remind you to take an opportunity and follow us. You can stay connected on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, all at Lakehead International. If you heard what me and Laura were sharing today and you are excited about Lakehead University, we also want to encourage you to take a virtual campus tour, explore our Aurelia campus, explore our Thunder Bay campus at lakeheadu.ca/tours. That's a great way to get to see your future, perhaps study hall, your future lecture halls, laboratories, residence, all that sort of stuff. And last but not least, if you like today's session, or maybe you want to learn more, you are more than welcome to join any one of our Lakehead International live events. This QR code is at the bottom left of your screen here today. You can also visit lakeheadu.ca/international-live. It's going to bring you to the same website, and you can see all of our upcoming events until the end of December now. With that being said, thank you again to everyone for joining us. It's been a pleasure to be your host. Thank you to Laura for joining and helping co-host this session. I could not have done it without you. With that, I will let everyone go, and hopefully we will see you at the next live event. Bye for now.
I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, I want to encourage you to comment below or connect with us on social media. We can be found at Lakehead International on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Thanks for watching once again, and hopefully we'll see you at the next live webinar. Bye for now.